Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and this is our preview of New York Toy Fair 2023. We haven't done an actual Toy Fair in the Javits Center since 2020. That's right when the pandemic was just beginning to pick up some serious steam. And for the past 2 years, New York Toy Fair has not occurred at all. So at last, here in 2023 in September, several months from when it usually happens, we are about to enter our newest NY Toy Fair, and it's going to be a very different year, that's for sure. Folks who are regulars here at Nerd News Today know that when we do New York Toy Fair, we do it hard. Our goal with New York Toy Fair has always been to bring the most extensive and diverse and in-depth coverage as possible with all the different toy vendors that are going to be there. So that always includes the big action figure makers, that includes the vehicle makers, that includes board games, that even includes plush and dolls and all sorts of other oddities that we're going to see at the event that really you wouldn't have otherwise known about unless you were at the show. So this is going to be a little bit of a quick preview of what we're going to be doing this year at Toy Fair, and also just kind of talking about what's going to be different at this year's Toy Fair, because again, keep in mind, we haven't been to one of these since 2020. A lot has changed about the industry in the last few years thanks to the pandemic, so this is going to be a real interesting show. And the number one thing here I want to do with you guys is set some expectations, because in case you did not know here, normally NY Toy Fair is in February. That's at the start of the year. And the reason for that has always been because that's going to set the trend for the rest of the year of what retailers will buy. Because really, New York Toy Fair is not a show about the press. It has nothing to do with folks like me. It's all about buyers. And when I say buyers, I'm talking like the big box stores, I'm talking about little mom and pop shops, I'm talking about online retailers. That's who NY Toy Fair is actually targeting. Chances are, if you're looking at this video on this channel, it's because you're an action figure collector and you're thinking that Toy Fair is all about kind of that, but no, action figures are really just like 2 or 3 aisles in this entire Javits Center, which is one of the biggest centers for all sorts of commerce and conventions in New York City and really across the entire 50 states. And this has generally been the place where companies go to show off and tell everybody what's going to be new, what's going to be coming, so that they can buy stuff for spring, summer, and even as far ahead as Christmas time. But the problem this year off the bat is that Toy Fair is not in February, it's going to be in the end of September, early October, and that's a really, really big shift. It's honestly a very seismic change because we're talking about the early days of October here for Toy Fair with the holiday season coming up right on us. So it's going to be really weird just based on that alone, and that's already caused some disruptions to who's going to actually be attending at New York Toy Fair. So to kind of taper some of your expectations here, I can tell you guys that I've been told Mattel, while they are going to be at the event in a very small capacity, will not really be showing anything off to the press. Normally Mattel has done a whole special press event. This year that is off. So basically they're going to be for retailers only, nothing special, no tour that means. So yeah, cross Mattel off your list for any kind of reveals. And similarly, Mezco will not be attending this year. Mezco was always like the first place I went to as soon as I walked in because frankly, Saturday mornings, they always did their press event right away to get that out of the way. And that was always like the place to be. This year, Mezco has decided that they're foregoing Toy Fair, and instead they did their RumbleCon event where they revealed a bunch of things there. Hasbro is still going to be doing something, so you can look forward to that, but Hasbro is actually doing something the day before Toy Fair happens. So that's usually what they do because Hasbro has always had an adjacent building. They're not part of the Javits Center. They're doing their own thing elsewhere. So Hasbro will be there, but they're going to be in a different kind of space this year. So don't know what that's going to look like. Don't know how it's going to be. We will see when we get there on Friday. And there are some other folks who are not going to be there. I know Boss Fight Studio is not going to be showing up, Titan Merchandise is not going to be there this year, and DC Collectibles will not be there because they don't exist anymore, unfortunately. Basically, the McFarlane Toys company has taken over the DC license, and that pretty much put an end to anything DC Collectibles was doing a few years ago. So a lot of the familiar faces I'm used to seeing at Toy Fair for many, many years, they're not going to be there, and that's going to be really interesting to see how it's going to be. But that said, there's going to be plenty of old favorites, including NECA, including Super 7, including the 4 Horsemen who do the Mythic Legions figures. They don't do every single year. They actually have not done one of these in a few years, so it's going to be cool to see them there. And I also know that 3-0 is going to be there, Iron Studios is going to be there. A lot of folks that, we haven't seen before really in this space. It's going to be kind of cool. But as far as my coverage now, I've already made a few appointments with some different folks here. So to give you guys an idea of what you're going to be seeing here on this channel, basically starting on Saturday morning, we're going to be just going real hard. And it's going to be most likely a combination of pre-recorded videos that I'll be doing at the event, as well as live streams. So you're going to want to really make sure you turn on your notifications for the next few days on my channel, because honestly, I don't really know entirely what I'm going to do. It's going to probably happen once I get there and I'll be like, okay, we're going to live stream this, or okay, I'm not. And typically that decision is based on what's in the booth and whether or not there's things that are not available for the public to look at just yet. So for the most part, it'll be a combination of those two things. And my appointment schedule, I'm not going to reveal yet either, just to make sure I don't kind of interfere with any of my other competitors out there doing the same thing. But yes, there will be a combination of live streams and pre-recorded videos over the next basically 5 to 6 days once we get going here. And I can tell you that will include tours of NECA, of Super 7, of Diamond Select, of Bandai, of Jada Toys, the Nacelle Company, who is also a first timer at Toy Fair, and they're going to be having some really cool stuff to show off there. McFarlane Toys, and just so many others, because a lot of them, you know, I've made appointments with a bunch already. Others, you just kind of go there and you see what's there. So ultimately, you never know what you're going to find at Toy Fair. So again, I really urge you guys to make sure, number one, you're subscribed to this channel, and also to turn on notifications at least for the next week, just to make sure you don't miss anything here. There's a lot of other toy YouTubers out there, and not throwing shade on anybody, but I'm firmly confident in saying that my channel has the most diverse coverage of the event. So if you're a toy lover, an action figure lover, a board game lover, plushies, dolls, whatever it might be, make sure you come back to Nerd News Today over the next week to see everything we're going to be taking a look at during NY Toy Fair 2023. So our coverage will begin on Saturday with some pre-recorded things I've shot at Hasbro on Friday, and then most likely in between those videos coming out on Saturday, you'll see some live streams here and there. Sunday, Monday, and especially Tuesday will be a lot more live streams in earnest, but still a combination of pre-recorded things, and those videos will probably start showing up at about 10 in the morning each day on my channel. And by the way, Toy Fair officially goes from Saturday through Tuesday, Tuesday being the last day, and that's usually the day where I will do just a straight up walkthrough of the entire Toy Fair floor, or at least as much of it as I can do without my camera battery dying on me. So that's going to be the time where if you want to see an entire tour of the Javits Center and everything that's at Toy Fair, because it's pretty overwhelming, be there on Tuesday afternoon. That's when things are going to get real. And I'll also be taking requests to go back to booths, ask folks questions throughout this event. So yeah, this is going to be a real active event. It's not just going to be me doing things, throwing them up onto YouTube. This is going to be an active event. So if you got questions, be prepared to see follow-ups even a day or two later. I'm going to do my best to really cover this as hard and extensively as I can. So one more time, please subscribe here on Nerd News Today to make sure you see all of our awesome Toy Fair coverage, because I promise you it will be awesome. And I urge you to please turn on notifications, at least just for this week during Toy Fair, so that you don't miss anything, whether it's a pre-recorded booth tour or a live stream. Now, as for me personally, I'm beyond excited. It's been so long since we had a Toy Fair. It is one of my favorite events of the year. And yeah, I just can't get my head around it that it's happening. And it's also happening this close to New York Comic Con. We'll get to that in a few weeks as well. But yeah, this is going to be a real whirlwind 2 weeks for me coming up. And I cannot wait to do Toy Fair again. And I can't wait to share it with all of you guys out there. So get ready for New York Toy Fair, because it's been way too long. So until, well, basically a few hours from now, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today, and we'll see you guys at Toy Fair.